A day after the second and final time trial at the Giro d'Italia, road racing was back. Stage 11, just about halfway through the race, and time to go over some big climbs. The Apennines awaited for the final time. The sun was shining at the start in Viareggio. Primož Roglic, after a crash in Recon, sporting a bandage on his left elbow, but knowing that he got right back into the hunt for the Maglia Rosa. This was going to be a contested stage. Would it be breakaway, GC or both? One of the hardest climbs in the whole Giro stood in the centre. Climbed for just the fourth time in the history of this race, Alpe San Pellegrino. Probably only Colle delle Finestre harder in this race, but coming in the middle of the stage, we were unsure as to how it would be raced. A finish just after the final climb, Pietra di Bismantova, would make it a very entertaining day. And the entertainment started with the very first attack from Wout van Aert as the flag waved. A startlingly fast first hour. 53.5 kilometres per hour was the speed, and it took a long time for the break to go. Those on the Giro train given a very good view of proceedings. After the intermediate sprint, the road started to go uphill. And those who'd been caught behind were praying that the break would go soon. Early moves followed, even by the Maglia Rosa at one stage. Isaac Del Toro having had his lead cut to 25 seconds in the time trial. With 111 kilometres still to go, the genesis of a big move then went. Just heading to the start of Alpe San Pellegrino, with its fierce gradients and long distance, this was where the day's breakaway would begin. 40-odd riders, though, soon started to whittle down. They weren't given the biggest gap by the peloton, already controlled by UAE Team Emirates. They occupied 1 and 2 on GC. Juan Ayuso in the white jersey and just 25 seconds behind Del Toro. All of that watching on and monitoring as Lorenzo Fortunato was after more King of the Mountains points. Those who got up the road who couldn't quite hack the pace were going backwards. Fortunato had a nice gap on those chasing. And then this, 95 kilometres remained, and Egan Bernal was attacking, trying to shock and surprise everybody and jump across to the breakaway. But the GC contenders were wise to it. They shut him down straight away. Fortunato did take those 40 points. He was adding into a very good lead in the King of the Mountains competition. Behind him, the rest of what would be the main break of the day began to form. Wout Poels was there, alongside Nairo Quintana, Luke Plapp and Pello Bilbao. The gaps, though, with 90 kilometres to go, still weren't big. Just over a minute to the peloton, becoming a minute and a half, with 78 kilometres still on the menu. Soon they'd be climbing again, however, and UAE started to let the gap go out. Second intermediate sprint passed, and it was growing to 2.5 minutes. That continued to grow as Baroncini set a tempo at the front. But towards the top of the Toano climb, things changed back in the peloton again. It was crested with almost 3 minutes of a gap, and it looked as though the breakaway was going to take the stage. That is until Mads Pedersen hit the front. Lidl Trek were interested in maybe bringing it back for Ciccone. There was still work to do, however. The Red Bull kilometre won by Nairo Quintana. But the breaks gap already down to 1:20 with 23 Ks to go. It continued to tumble, it continued to reduce. But there was a brief moment when it looked like it was out again, and Pedersen had done his job for the day. That with 12 Ks to go, until EF Education Easy Post started to try and set up Richard Carapaz. There was a look around, they were there and ready, and Carapaz attacked with 9 kilometres still to race. Initially, UAE Emirates didn't go fully after him. Rafał Majka did the job to try and keep him under control. With Carapaz, a former Giro winner, starting the day in the top 10. Isaac Del Toro then trying to go after him. There were splits behind. They were brought back together. And once there was reorganisation, Majka would again go to work. The gap at half a minute, though, to Carapaz. Looking for a first Giro stage win since that 2019 overall success. And it looked as though he was going to have it. A couple of little ramps to survive over the top of the final climb and into the final kilometre with a 17-second gap. Carapaz enjoyed his moment. A typical aggressive, classy performance from him. The stage win, just a fourth victory of the season in all cycling for EF Education Easy Post. And then the bonus seconds behind. Well, easily going to Isaac del Toro. He took 6 and 4 going to Ciccone. Del Toro increasing his lead to 31 seconds over his teammate in the GC. A great day for him. An even better day for Richard Carapaz, who's in the fight for the Giro. After surviving the time trial, the Ecuadorian's time has arrived. A super win for Carapaz, holding off the rest of the peloton. Second place going to Del Toro. Ciccone wasn't far off. Up there too was Tom Pidcock, but it was all about Carapaz, back winning again, his first win since the end of the Tour de France last year. The GC changes again, 31 seconds now, with Carapaz also moving up. He's very close to Primož Roglic. Another pink jersey, a third day in the race lead for Isaac del Toro, who looked every bit a leader on stage 11.